Well, it appears as though it only went live on YouTube. Oh, well. It's given me some grief as far as additional steps that need to be done to stream onto Twitch. I apologize for that. So I don't want to deal with tearing this down and setting it back up. So let's just go. Shorter stream today. I just wanted to put a couple of thoughts out there. A couple of thoughts and observations. And most of the content that I'm going to be going over here is actually stuff that you can already watch. And I'm not just going to take someone else's, especially recent stuff, and restream it. And the two main videos I wanted to offer you, Mark Kulak, Kistonic.live episode, I think 1172, is this channel here, Sabine Hossenfelder. Now, she does videos at a furious pace. There's, with all due respect, okay, there's no way that she can do so many well-produced videos. It's like every day or every other day. It's one thing if to review the content, but there's a certain level of production. It just takes time. So she works with a team, and that's fine. And that's good. She has 1.6 million subscribers on YouTube. That's pretty good for a channel that has I think it's been around less than me. 1.6 million on YouTube. That's impressive. Now, the video that she did, it was just published, I think, today. Matter of fact, it shows, what's the posting date on this? 2 days ago. I'm sorry, it came out 2 days ago. The title of it is Everyone is Giving Up on Climate Goals. Now, I do want to play the first few minutes of this. And then I'm just going to play a couple of minutes of another video, which is actually, by the way, this video here is only 7 minutes long. And the other video is a 2-hour video on a channel called Astrum, A-S-T-R-U-M. And Astrum has 2.2 million followers. Okay. I listen to this channel a lot. It's so many amazing facts, and he's got a good sleeping voice. As people have told me I do as well. This longer video here is titled "A Shift in the Earth's Cycles is Coming. Will it affect you?" Now, this is ultimately an exploration of how the Earth's climate changes. What part of the cycle is it in right now? And what is the human impact on the Earth's climate? Now, I have to say, I found this to be possibly the best video I've seen, almost period, on this particular topic. There are so many things that are moving around. I mean, you have to factor in that the Earth sometimes is not always exactly the same distance from the sun. There's little bits of tugging that go on. There's actually a gravitational pull towards Jupiter, which is like 1% of the mass of the solar system. The tilt of the Earth's axis slowly changes over time. And when the Earth gets cold, you have to factor in that the more snow the Earth has, the more it actually repels or reflects the sun's energy, which causes the cycles of making it colder. There's also there's other geothermal events that factor in. There's unexpected events. He goes over at least 10 different cycles, and how they all play upon each other, and it's fascinating. And these cycles over the last millions or billions of years have resulted in multiple situations where all humans would have been unable to live almost completely without, at least not without a lot of technology and going in and a plan to either stay cool or warm up for many generations. It's fascinating. They go over carbon dioxide levels, etc. And I found this to be one of the best videos I've seen because it actually, I thought, provided a way to see how there is some unexpected instability lately in some measurements. Now, how detailed those measurements could have been over the many years, because I have some questions about that. But it starts to highlight how the issue of climate change, I feel as though we have been led to see it as to completely deny it, impossible, or it's absolutely certain, and humans control it completely. And some people have gone to the point where saying we should get rid of humans, but unfortunately that's not the majority just yet. Anyways, it's nice because it goes on to suggest, well, there's going to be climate changes, and there are cycles, and these cycles are going to happen whether people are around or not, and no matter what people do, these cycles are actually unavoidable. However, the way these cycles work may be impacted based upon some human activity. And when you see how many different systems are at play, you go, wow, it's maybe, maybe you're dancing with fire a little bit here, playing with fire if we start causing, humans to make change. It doesn't quite, though, reassure me when it comes to this topic of the fact that the Earth really is at nearly an historic all-time low of carbon dioxide. It really is. It's like 0.04%. It's like 4 parts per million right now. Or 40, I guess that would be. It's crazy how little carbon dioxide there is. Greenhouses can't even grow plants anymore unless they actually have carbon dioxide generators. Most people don't know that. But that said, carbon dioxide was low before people came around as well. And anyways, I just encourage you to watch it. And I think, and I'll put the link down below when I'm done. Now, this video here is, I actually was going to encourage people to watch this Astrum video because although this is definitely out of my wheelhouse, I found it interesting, and I've been mostly interested in how the argument seems to be in this. There's a lively debate, but there's very little discussion about how, well, the answer is we don't really know, but the cost of not knowing and doing something harmful could be pretty big. And that's a very reasonable position to have, I think, as opposed to being absolutely defiant and flippant, one way or the other. Just like so many other topics, right? No one's allowed to have nuanced discussion and simply offer, how much we don't know. And there's so many systems at play. There really is a lot we just don't know. You'll be very, very enlightened after watching this video. So presumably, because I don't watch a lot of Sabine Hausenfelder's content, this one got promoted. And it plays in perfectly, something that this channel and only a couple of other channels have really been trying to tie together now for some time. So let's listen to Sabine talk.
It's 2025 and the tide's turning on climate change. To me, it looks like this will be the year when we'll stop trying to prevent it from happening and instead focus on adapting to it. Donald Trump is back in the White House and he means business. He's already pulled the United States out of the Paris Agreement again and announced he'll set an end to what he calls the Green New Scam and instead invest into roads, bridges and other infrastructure.
And we will drill, baby, drill.
Meanwhile,
is ignorant, probably bigoted, small-minded. They just want more money. They're greedy. They're stupid, etc. All right. There's a lot of very negative things suggested by anyone that dare to question the absolute certainty of human-caused climate change.
While Europeans are afraid to fall behind in international competition and global businesses are done pretending they care about carbon neutrality. Already last year in March, Shell abandoned its goal of reducing carbon emissions by 45%, citing uncertainty in the pace of change in the energy transition. In October, Reuters reported that BP abandoned its goal to cut oil output and, very tellingly, that BP shares were up 0.8%. The likely reason fossil fuel companies are abandoning climate goals is that they expect demand to increase. Many multinational companies, including Gucci, Nestle and EasyJet, have downgraded their ambitions to reduce carbon emissions. It's not hard to guess why. Carbon neutrality isn't helping their business.
But that's not the real reason. Okay, that's not the real reason. She says it. She doesn't say this is really what's going on.
Fossil fuel is back in fashion and the financial sector is drawing consequences too. The clearest sign is that the Net Zero Banking Alliance is falling apart. That's a group of banks who committed to aligning their lending, investment and capital markets activities with net zero greenhouse gas emissions by 2050. In December, Goldman Sachs left the alliance, followed by Bank of America, Morgan Stanley, Wells Fargo, Citigroup and JP Morgan. A recent report from Share Action, a charity that supports responsible investments, found that decarbonization efforts by 18 large European banks, including HSBC and Barclays, are behind target, and I suspect that these banks will soon stop pretending they even care. On January 13th, the Net Zero Asset Managers Initiative, one of the world's biggest climate investor groups, announced that it's suspending activities because of, quote, recent developments in the US and different regulatory and client expectations.
So clearly, the climate change or the carbon reduction agenda is taking a back seat. It went from the most important thing to deal with in the world, and I've always been very unconvinced by it. Just didn't quite add up. I mean, clearly there's never been this many people burning gas before. Not out of the question. But at the same time, I've never been fully convinced by it. But anyways, that's just me, and I have to stop personalizing it. There is, and you can see it from companies, you can see it from banks, and you can see it from government policies, and you can see it from climate change accords. People are checking out. But why? Is it because people want more money? Is that really it? Is it people just are more ignorant? They want bigger pickup trucks? What's going on?
End quote. The trend away from carbon neutrality is obvious, but it's not just driven by financial incentives.
So she suggests it's primarily driven by financial incentives. It's so easy to think bad things happen because people just want money. It's so easy to think that bad things happen because some people, they're just stupid. So many bad actions, okay, are just chalked up to those things.
Increasingly, it's driven by the race for artificial superintelligence.
Boom! That's it. That's it. The AI data centers are going to consume so much energy. They are going to consume so much energy. They are going to be so big and suck up so much power that governments are forfeiting the pursuit of carbon reduction. Now, this would mean that somebody had to sit down and said, okay, is it worth taking a chance and, you know what, using more gas, using more energy? Is it worth taking a chance? Because there is uncertainty that there could be some butterfly, ripple effect. Is it worth taking a chance to continue to pursue the big data agenda? And I mean the human genomic research, the ability to understand life at a programmatic level to the point where we can cure diseases, we can handle all kinds of tissue transplants, we can dramatically extend life, maybe never get immortal, but we can live a lot longer, that we can augment human capabilities. Is it worth climate change to pursue that? Now, everyone likes to say AI. I just say lots of data, lots of computing, lots of data storage. I'm always very, I'm in my early 50s. Right? When I went to college 30 years ago, all the instructors said artificial intelligence is right around the corner. It's a couple of years from now. It's always right around the corner. And when it comes down to it, we just have a lot more computers that can do a whole lot more math. And yeah, there are some sophisticated algorithms that can actually maybe even start to develop their own hypotheses and then test them. But, it's still written by humans. So, I'm a little bit of a wet blanket, I guess, when it comes to that type of stuff. But there's so much data, and there's so much data to crunch. And maybe if one of these ice ages is absolutely unavoidable, somebody might have realized, well, you know what? There's nothing we can do to stop the Earth from becoming almost habitable to humans. Humans right now, all of human civilization in a slightly warming period within an overall massive ice age right now. And all of human civilization, like ever since, the wheel has only happened like in the very last few moments of the Earth's history. And it's likely things are going to happen again that's going to make it a very uncomfortable place to live. Maybe in order, and Stargate says this big data agenda in the United States, what is it about? I mean, it implies that we need to get to the stars. We need to find a way to colonize space or something like that. And the gating factor is having enough data and having enough computing and enough data storage. So there you have it. If you don't think the big data agenda, the human genomics agenda is important, I suspect that what you're seeing right now is evidence that it is more important than saving the planet. I mean, it's not, and unfortunately, the host makes the mistake of thinking it's because of bigoted white people and stupidity and ignorance and etc. Republicans, I don't know, but no, they aren't the ones who really made the decision. Joshua Lederberg, the name that no one wants to mention, said 45 years ago, what we need is enough data and enough computers, and we can possibly figure out how the human genome works, and we can extend life, and we can augment the human condition. This has been in the works for a while. He is considered to be one of the inventors of artificial intelligence and the ability of computing systems that can actually offer and then test their own hypotheses. He was the person that ran the Gulf War syndrome, how would you say, hearings in Congress in the 1990s, United States Congress. He is the person that Donald Rumsfeld appointed to run the internal investigation after 9/11 within the Pentagon. He is the person who sat across the table from President Clinton in 1997 regarding the concerns of biological warfare. He is the person that was side by side with Henry Kissinger in 8 U.S. presidencies as a main advisor on genetics and biological warfare. He is one of the main signatories of the 1969 biological warfare program. He is the person that NASA appointed in the 1960s to run their program to identify any biological life that should be returning on any craft that were returning back into orbit and then landing back on Earth. That's all Lederberg. And Lederberg was also one of the main speakers at a conference in 1963 called The Man and His Future, where it was talking about exactly the problem of the fact that we don't live long enough, and there are going to be challenges on the planet, and these things are going to require a mastery of the human genome. And in matter of fact, the very nature of humankind has changed to one where, we're just here, digging up potatoes and praying to God all day. This is according to them, where we actually need to put on the big boy pants and start to be in charge of our own evolution. These ideas are so big that they right now are the main agenda behind the scenes, while people argue about, money and, cleaning up the water and, all kinds of other social issues and the economy and warfare and Gaza and everything else. All of that stuff is what you see on the surface, but behind the scenes, this pursuit of the human genome is what's driving everything. I have tons of videos about Joshua Lederberg. Everyone knows Kerry Mullis, Dr. Kerry Mullis. People are like, oh, he's the person who called out Fauci. Every time you or someone else mentions Kerry Mullis, the response should be, you never would have heard about Kerry Mullis if not for Joshua Lederberg. Lederberg found Mullis, used Mullis as a way to be able to make PCR, what became PCR technology, publicly available. That's it. He basically laundered the technology through a handsome blonde guy. That's what Lederberg did, and that's why you know about Mullis. Identified IBM Think did massive articles about Joshua Lederberg in the 1960s, 1964, regarding the fact that, tissue transplants fail oftentimes because of the immune system. And the only way we are going to understand how to overcome this problem to allow people to get new hearts or whatever, kidney transplants, is to understand what factors come into play, and that's going to be done by getting the data and crunching the numbers. We can't get there. We can't actually deal with a real climate change situation that might actually be beyond our capability of dealing with, unless we understand our own machinery well enough, and so on and so forth. John Wolfe, when Joshua Lederberg wrote a book on human genetic engineering, of all the people in the world, he chose Dr. John Wolfe, who passed in early 2020, and was the main name on the paper that supposedly Robert Malone keeps showing as evidence of his proof of inventing RNA transfection technology. Lederberg worked with him, and so on and so forth. I got tons of videos. Hopefully you like listening to my voice. Anyways, it's a short video here. I will take these two links of these videos here. In particular, this one from Astrum. A shift in the Earth cycle is coming. Will it affect you? I highly recommend watching it. And yes, this person, a spoiler alert, they do believe in human-caused climate change, and they are quite alarmed by it. They approach it, I think, as open-minded as they possibly could. I still don't think it's absolute, but it's the question is how serious of an impact it's going to be. And when you see all of the other systems at play, you go, wow, when you see all of these systems running together and impacting each other, and just tossing a penny into the middle could just totally throw everything off. Maybe I don't know, but it's very compelling and very educational, and I appreciate an audience that is willing to look at the nuances and understand that it's not that we don't want to have answers, but usually the answer is it's complicated. All right, guys, thank you very much. God bless. Maybe I'll do another show later on. Not sure. Definitely again by tomorrow. Take care.